Let's have a look at this from Brother Sam. Or indeed Big B Crumbles McRatskin, as you'd like to be known on Twitter. This is your Captain Maximo Volante of the Ultramarines. What
he
a pain.
Has some personal heraldry and a half. This box.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 73 of 40K Badcast. Ooh. My name is Stan Boyd, and I'm joined, as always, by L'Effondrement de la Société.
Oh, I thought there was more to it than that.
No, that was it. It's French.
I'm aware. Je ne sais quoi. Une pipe. Is that it?
We were talking before the show, and the country of France came up, and so for my bit this time, I decided to look up some French, and I did.
What? Way to give a peek behind the curtain right there, like 30 seconds into the show. Thanks for doing that. I assume you're doing that for my benefit, not the audience's benefit, but 6 of one, half dozen of the other.
I'm doing it for my benefit.
That works too.
I do most everything for my benefit.
That's called justifying your own existence.
Yeah, man. It's whoa. Are you gripping and ripping?
This episode is brought to you by the words grip and the words rip, all right?
Oh man. That was a good intro. That was a good bit.
Thanks.
Too bad we'll never revisit it.
Ever. Not a one time.
It's over. Okay, let's move on. Let's get into the Auspecs because, gang, this is going to be a long Auspecs.
Yeah, we would have recorded last week, except we were like, hey, there's a big ass preview coming up. Let's not, what's the opposite of getting a scoop?
If we recorded last week, it would have been 2 weeks after the preview and the episode came out, and we would have been talking about the preview, which I don't know, maybe some people would want to hear that, but
yeah, at that point, it's no longer even a post view. It's just kind of a view if you really feel like it.
It's a history podcast at that point. So, okay, let's get into the Auspecs and our first section. As always, le progrès des passe-temps. Yeah, that's right. More French.
Oh, wow. You have said minimum 35 more words in French than I actually understand this episode. And you've said maybe 12.
I was telling you before the show, if I actually knew how to speak French, I think I would rather live in France because France fucking rules. So if we have any French listeners, I'm jelly. All right, let's move on. And of course, this is Hobby Progress. If you don't know French. So I've been very busy with work and other things lately. A lot of yard work, Campbell. This whole home ownership thing is pretty great, except well, that's not true. I was going to say except for the yard work, but I kind of like doing it.
It's an excuse to be outside. Yeah. And if it's not miserable outside, it's pretty all right.
I mean, it's a lot of work, but I like it. And, sometimes Danielle and I do it together.
Oh, that is nice.
It's nice. It's a little bonding, makes you feel close to the earth.
Yeah. Well, I got kind of far from the earth because last time I did yard work that was really notable, I cut down a very small tree with a miter saw, which involved punching a hole in my fence probably about a dozen times. So make sure you have the right tools for the job because a miter saw is not meant to cut through bark.
That sounds like an extremely Campbell thing to do.
Yeah, it was. It's the only saw I had, and I'll be damned if I'm going to drive all the way to the hardware store.
So I was prefacing this because I haven't done a ton of hobby stuff in the past few weeks because, well, I've been just busy. And so I'm just about done with these Baja Blasters, and I just have a couple more layers of highlights to do, and then basing and some transfers, and that's it, and shouldn't take me much longer. Because once I get past the base coating stage, models for me tend to accelerate big time, like painting projects. Yeah, because the thing that kills my motivation is when a model's messy. When a model's Lionel Messi. That's a sports reference. You don't get it.
Yeah, no, that went way the fuck over my head. Like, I'm used to things going over my head because I'm like 5'8", 5'9", but that went way over my head.
So once I get past the base coat stage where everything's been touched up and it's ready for washing and shading, the washing and shading goes really quickly generally. And then the highlights for me, I'm very motivated to do highlights.
I'm the other way around. I try to do everything I can before I have to fucking highlight power armor or whatever.
I love it. It takes forever, and it can be some fiddly work, but oh boy, my latent OCD and y'all didn't see this, but I just centered my mouse directly between the 2 pages of the Badcast 73 show notes in my Word document that I have open that I'm reading off of because I can't fucking help it. So it
just gives you this feeling of frisson up your back.
Yeah, it's no, it doesn't. It's the opposite. It stops the bad feeling from happening. So yeah, when I get to the highlighting stage, that's when I feel the best and I'm the most motivated. And I'm looking at these little guys right here and I'm thinking, boo, wouldn't it be nice to paint some more tonight? So here's the thing though. I got a fever.
Oh no.
And not a COVID-19 fever. I said that.
Okay.
And then I was like, oh wait.
Read the room.
maybe I don't use that SNL reference this time. So I'm gonna abandon that and just tell you what I'm thinking about. I really, really want to paint Space Marines.
Hell yeah.
I am fucking feeling it. We'll get into it in just a couple minutes here, but buddy, I want to paint some black power armor. So I gotta accelerate. I gotta get through these elves, finish them up so I can get to Marines. And I have a lot of Marines in the backlog and I'm very excited to start. I think I'm going to crack open an Invictor Warsuit next.
Nice. I'm glad Marines have got your primary and secondary hearts aflutter.
Yeah, well, like I said, we're going to talk about it in a minute, but there was a thing that happened last Saturday. Today's what, the 28th? Yeah, 28th. Yeah. So 5 days ago, a thing happened, and oh boy. So what have you been working on? Now, I know, and listeners will have heard this already at the top of the show because there's a little bit of a cold open. You finished a beautiful model, and it made it to the Hangout and Hobby, I guess, stream that the Warhammer community team does on Twitch. Yeah,
it was my boy, the Magnifico Captain Maximo Volante of the Ultramarines.
Is that the last Tarantello we do this episode? Stay tuned and find out, listeners.
Yeah, I put him, I painted him. I loved getting to do the heraldry on him. He's got repeated heraldry on his knee pad, on his shoulder, on his tilting plate, on the little back tiny shield that you can't see behind the crest of his helmet. I absolutely loved painting him. It was total blast start to finish.
I got to tell you, bud, you have your painting is constantly improving, and I am just so happy when you actually post finished models because they look fantastic.
Thank you. Honestly, I think my biggest things holding me back are, one, I can never consistently take photos 2 times in the same way. And number 2 is just I hate doing that. So thankfully I post on Goonhammer every 2 weeks for their bi-monthly hobby roundup, which means I have to take pictures now. So I don't just have a menagerie of models covering my desk waiting to be photographed and also waiting to get fluffed by my cat.
That is also, Goonhammer, always go there and read their stuff. But the hobby roundup is, I think, quickly becoming my favorite part of Goonhammer, or favorite thing to read, other than my own articles, of course.
Oh, naturally.
That's not true. I never read the articles after I do that. I just go. I will look through them to see how the pictures and the formatting came out. But unless there's typos and stuff, that's send it to the void. And of course, I'm talking about Necromunda, the world's premier weekly Necromunda column, and I'm not even joking.
Yeah, you're actually correct there. See, I go back to my post on Goonhammer because otherwise I forget how to paint things. So I can go back and be like, oh yeah, there's the colors used. All right, cool. Aside from El Capitan there, I also got to paint up 2 Death Cult assassins that were the old Finecast ones I had lying around. I used mostly contrast paint to do them. It came out pretty good, although with how finicky and fine those models are, it might have been just the same amount of time to paint using typical layering. Yeah. But whatever, they've been sitting in a box for 4 or 5 years, so why not get them out there?
Why not?
I built and painted just built 5 Chaos Warriors and 10 Empire State Troops because I'm just kind of clearing some backlog stuff right now. I built and painted 3 Inceptors, who, speaking of edge highlighting, I spent an entire 6-hour marathon hobby session just doing the first round of blue highlights in those motherfuckers. And while I may be an edging enthusiast, 6 hours is a bit much for me in one stretch.
In one stretch, 6 hours?
Yeah, just going at it just for 6 hours. Dude,
I don't even edge for that long, and I'm the edge lord.
You are the edge lord, but I had to highlight those moon booties.
Got to do it.
Got to highlight the moon booties and then weather over them so you can't see the highlights anyway, which is why I didn't highlight the moon booties in the first squad of 3 I did. So lesson learned retroactively. But while when I primed those guys,
I do that shit too. I'm like, there's on these Blood Bowl elves, one of them has studs coming out of his pants. Like studded armor, and there's a few in there that nobody will ever see, and I'm sitting there like trying to angle my brush so I can highlight them just so, and nobody will ever see them, and nobody gives a shit. But if it's not done, it's not done.
I know I hear that from people a lot, but you forget. Like, you will just fucking forget.
And as soon as I've put like a coat of varnish on the model and I notice a mess up or something, as long as it's not a chip, because I always fix chips, but I notice that I missed something, I'm just like, fuck it, I'm not going back. But while I'm in the painting process, I am kind of nuts about it.
Well, speaking of varnishing, while the varnish was drying on those Inceptors, I painted 2 miniatures from the Fallout Wasteland Warfare miniatures game. I painted Nora, who's like one of the main characters, and Dogmeat from the starter set. They're the plastic starter set, though. It's the doggo. But
not a great word.
Dogmeat?
Dogmeat.
It's the name of the dog from A Boy and His Dog, ergo the name of the dog in Fallout 1, 2, 3, 4, New Vegas. Not 76 yet, but not New Vegas either. Anyway, it's a doggo. I painted the doggo in a Vault Dweller. The plastics are kind of bendy and not extra great. They're kind of board gamey. And I watched Duncan Rhodes now has his own like painting tutorial YouTube channel that's a bit more in depth than the old Warhammer TV stuff. And he did one of the super mutants from the starter set, but it was the resin one. And like looking at the resin one that he painted versus the plastic one that I painted is looking at like the graphics jump from Fallout 1 to Fallout 4. Like one's like really low definition and need to like kind of squint to make out the details, and the other one's like in your fucking face.
Can we not decry isometric RPGs on this podcast, please?
I'm not going to decry isometric RPGs, but there's a jump in visual fidelity from 1999 to 2015.
I'm going to have to ask you to put a quarter in the isometric RPG jar. Because
I'm sorry. The isometric RPG appreciator has logged on, all right?
I have never logged off, 1. And 2, don't fuck with me when it comes to isometric RPGs.
I'm not saying I'm not. You know what? You don't know what. I'm not fucking with you. I like both games an awful lot.
Sorry, I'm being combative because, I'm supposed to, I suppose.
It is. You're the heel, I'm the babyface. We have this dynamic down. We've had this dynamic down for 72 of the last 73 episodes.
That's how it works.
Like that cordial wall sort of eroded after the 90-minute mark.
It is working, though. Or I should say it has worked, because you don't get hate mail.
No, not generally.
I get hate mail. Let's be honest, not a lot of hate mail, but you've never gotten hate mail in our inbox, and I do.
Please don't. The problem is, by saying that now, that's going to invite someone to change that fact. But let's move away from this metatextual sort of narrative here.
Nobody will. You're such a nice boy. Nobody's going to mess with you.
That's right. Most of my hate mail comes
I'm sorry. I'm not. That sounded like it was like a dig on you for you being so nice. But no, you're great, and I love you.
Oh, I thank you. Tell that to the people who send me hate mail via Facebook Messenger.
See that you know what? That's something I can't help with.
Yeah,
because I'm fucking not on Facebook.
Yeah, I know, and I'm very jealous of you.
Yes.
Beyond that, because of course there's more to it. In the past week, I got 10 incursors and the last intercessor I needed from Dylan. I have built all 10 of them. They have a lot more pieces than I recall from the Shadow Spear guys, but I kind of forget what it was like to spend 20 minutes building infantry model was like.
Yep.
But the first 5 are almost, I'd say like 65, 70% done being painted. I'm at that dreaded edge highlighting phase for them.
Yeah.
And the second 5 are primed and ready to go whenever. And beyond that, I have not done your backlog challenge, but I've been going through some of my armies and doing a bit of that backlog inventory management.
Yeah.
And I put together, like, I had this nice system for my Daves of Darkness army, where I could see, painted, built, in progress, whatever. And, it's got like, maybe a dozen models left to go. And it's 5 of them are the Chaos Warriors on my desk right now. And one's another Bastard Chariot. But I'm like, what about my Empire? Because I kind of want to work on my Empire army, just because I had that dark urge to paint poofy sleeves, slashed fabric, and giant bulges. And I'm like, I don't know what to work on, because if I build these guys as swordsmen, what if I have 50 and the max squad size is 40? So I did an inventory of them all, and I only have 114 unbuilt models for that army. Only.
Dude.
So
you're so close to being done.
So fucking close. I'm actually
Dude, you're so close to being done.
I've been editing this army for like 5 years now. I've painted 200 of them. Just 114 to go.
Hey, you're almost 3/4 of the way done.
I'm almost 2/3 of the way done.
That's what I meant to say. That's what I meant to say, man.
Couple of math majors over here.
Okay, well,
yeah.
Let's move on to the partie jouée section of the Auspex. And Campbell, did you jouer any partie?
Un party joued. Joued. All right, I partied once. I played I don't have a bit for it. I played Blitz Bowl with Eric Beers.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
how did you play Blitz Bowl? Also, doesn't Eric live in, I want to say, like the middle of Mount St. Helens, the magma chamber?
No, he does not live in a volcano, unfortunately. No, he lives in Minneapolis right now.
Oh, okay. I thought he was a West Coast person.
No, he just hangs with that crew. No, he and I played over Tabletop Simulator because we've been kind of talking about it.
Campbell, I hang with that crew too sometimes.
Oh, well, excuse me, princess. So we played over Tabletop Simulator. I played Human, just I figured that's the most baseline team just to kind of get a start with. He played Orcs, and I lost 13-21, so it was pretty all right.
Hey, that sounds like a reasonable score.
Yeah, it's a very high scoring game, which I like a lot. It's very dynamic. It plays very quickly. It learns real easy. I think it doesn't have the persistence of Blood Bowl or the deck building of Warhammer Underpants, so it doesn't quite have that meta gaming element to it, unfortunately. But there's still a lot of this like dynamic moment-to-moment strategy and positioning to think about, and it plays as a very clean and modern game. I really enjoyed playing it, and I'm not going to start evangelizing about it like Jody does, but I'm really down to play it again. So
there's already a Blitz Bowl podcast.
This is true.
The 40K Badcast will not become a Blitz Bowl podcast. That much I can promise you, listeners.
No, I would.
Sorry, Jody.
Yep.
Well, I guess not sorry, Jody, because like we're not stepping on your toesy woesies.
Yeah, I don't want to crunch his toes.
I don't want to crunch those delicious toes.
I don't want to foul his podcast into the end zone. There it is. So yeah, I'm really down to play it again. I feel like after just one game, I was pretty much ready to teach it.
Yeah,
it's been like 2 weeks since we played, but I could probably still just like pick it up like that.
Pick it up like that.
Yeah.
Could you pick it up? I need a fucking ska button.
You do need a ska button.
God.
The problem is it's going to be like, pick it up. And then it's going to be like 35 seconds of horns. And then it'll be like that. Burr, 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 burr. Like they'll have to break down 2/3 of the way through. It's going to be a really long button is what I'm trying to get at.
It's going to be an entire Goldfinger album.
Yeah, once I hear Superman start, I'm just going to leave the fucking room.
It's a great song.
It's a killer track.
Yeah, I think they're like remaking Tony Hawk Pro Skater 2.
Yeah, they are Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1 and 2, but they're making all the skaters are age appropriate, so they're like old now, which rules.
Yes.
Love it.
Dude, the soundtracks to those games are very formative for me.
Yeah, I would I don't throw it around very often, but I would say iconic.
Yeah, there you go. All right, I in the partie jouée section of the Auspex, I have aucun. I didn't say that right. None games played because I haven't played any fucking games in. I haven't played a game, any of these fucking games, since I played myself in Blood Bowl, which is like a month and a half ago or 2 months ago.
mean, I haven't played 40K since February. Or I think I played Necromunda like twice in March, maybe. It's
February.
February. And then, Necromunda in March.
Okay, well, great.
Or the alternative. Yeah.
Great. I would like to play a game of something with someone.
I would just about kill a man too.
Would you?
Yeah, the old dude who was peeing in the graveyard behind my house, he could probably stand to go.
You know, that seems like okay. Two things. One, hey gang, try not to pee outside too much. Just, find a restroom. That seems like pretty good advice. And here's something. Here's a take. Here's a hot take. Campbell, you ready?
Okay.
Don't pee outside that much.
Is that your hot piss take?
That's my hot piss take.
Okay.
Second, what if he was pissing on the grave of his enemy?
Well, I would respect that. I really would. Although the section of the graveyard he was peeing in was all people who were buried in like 1916. So if that's his enemy, it's a long gone enemy.
Well, what if it's like he inherited the grudge?
Yeah. It's a familial thing. Yeah.
So here's the thing. I don't want people to piss in graveyards. I don't. I just think it's bad form. Probably don't do it unless you're pissing on someone's grave who you despise. Yeah, and then I'm like, you know what? I'm okay with it.
Yeah, revenge whips ass.
Revenge pissing.
The alternative to challenge pissing.
I was about to say better than challenge pissing. Okay. We need a fuck you Baltimore button also on this show. God damn it. That's 2 buttons I'm going to have to get now.
I think the fuck you Baltimore button might get a little more use than the ska button even.
I want to install that in my car.
That's the horn.
Fuck you Baltimore. Okay, let's move on because this is going to be the big one.
Yeah.
How do you say the big one in French? Le grand, un grand. I don't know. Fuck it.
Un grand. Yeah, sure.
Yeah. So this is, of course, nouveau truc or new stuff.
Oh my God. I'm just picturing like the 12 listeners we have who speak French quickly becoming 3 listeners who speak French, quickly becoming 0 listeners who speak French by the end of this episode.
Okay, here's the thing. When I looked up these French words, not only did I look them up and spell them correctly in my notes, I put a pronunciation guide.
Oh, are they written phonetically?
They are after. So I have like the first one, Le Fondement de la Société. Like I have that written out in phonetics because I was like, man, they got a whole lot of letters in this dang language.
What are you doing with all them letters?
What do you need all these fucking letters for, huh? You got like O's and U's and A's.
We got one vowel and it's U, as in F-U. That's what we speak here.
Oh, yes.
Oh, Big Fac, we miss you so much. You were gone too soon.
Big Fac. Listen, Big Fac will come back, and so will Big Fac 2, his cousin.
Yeah, I thought Big Fac 2 was Lil Fac.
Oh, man.
I really almost lore right here.
I really almost did a spit take over the thousands of dollars of electronics that are directly in front of me. It would have been bad. All right. Okay. New stuff. So really, we only have a couple things to talk about, but they're dense. So the first one is the big 40K preview of last Saturday. And there may have been stuff before this, but I don't care, and we're not going to talk about them. So
there wasn't really much.
Big 40K preview. First off, came out with an awesome video game cinematic, which I was very excited about.
It is probably the first thing they've done that's really on par with the original Dawn of War intro for just a cool thing to be like, hey, this is what Warhammer is about. This is what you need to it's the tone piece. This is the thing that sets that sort of tone and what your expectations should be for this game and this universe.
And immediately people were complaining about it.
I didn't think people were complaining about that very much. I saw people complain about everything else, but not that.
There was a guardswoman.
Was that people?
And people were mad that they had a guardswoman in the cinematic.
Oh, okay. I thought people were mostly complaining about a thing that comes up later that is also a non-issue.
Oh no, we'll talk about that too.
Yes,
we're gonna talk about the shitheads. And quite frankly, if you're out there getting mad that they included a guardswoman in the cinematic, go fuck yourself.
Mm-hmm. Twice.
Anyways, I thought the cool opening cinematic was just that cool because it showed Necrons being way scary. Mm-hmm. It showed Sisters of Battle being way fucking rad. Mm-hmm. And then Space Marines. Ooh, nice. Ooh, good one, Dan.
Having a real one, Dan.
Space Marines come out of fucking nowhere and start slamming chainswords through Necrons. And I'm like, fuck yes. And oh boy, there's a dude with a skeleton on his shield who's walking around fucking shit up. And I was like, hell yeah, man. That seems ridiculously heavy and probably not all that useful. But fuck yeah, you take your skeleton shield with you wherever you go.
That's the thing. Whenever people are like, "Oh, the Grimdark's gone from Warhammer," it's like, no, it's not. It's right fucking there on that dude's shield. He's just carrying around a dead dude, and he's one of the good guys.
Love that shit. So, I got to tell you, man, Necrons, one of my favorite concepts. And in the past, they've done very well with the models, and they've done very poorly with the models. Mm-hmm. It's a mixed bag, but most like all things really. But ooh, dude, these character designs for the new Necron stuff, we'll get into it a little more later, but I am here for it.
Absolutely. No, I think Necrons are one of those great bad guy factions, and I think that their time is due. Their time is due. Now, the thing is, this video or this animation ended with basically a new Warhammer logo.
Yes.
And this also made people real mad.
Oh, boy. Oh, man. So...
Which, like, it's like, oh, make it like the old logo. It's like, or whenever people are complaining about that thing, it's like, okay, it's a brand refresh. This happens every 5 to 10 years anyway.
Yeah, people who are complaining about logo changes because they want the old logos back, just fucking get over it. Like,
yeah, New Coke is here to stay, all right?
Whatever.
The thing is, like, you have the fucking...
There was a legitimate concern about this logo, though, and I want you to explain it because you're the expert here.
Okay, so the so real quick, the logo actually does call back to the Rogue Trader logo and the fact that it has like the line going through it and everything. And the font is kind of like a less radical in the rad 80s way and in the actual term radical sort of way. Like it's a bit more restrained and it looks good. It appears better as like a 2-color logo than I think the more 3-dimensional logo does. I think it's a solid logo, but for some fucking reason, there's multiple versions of this logo floating out there. So the way the logo appears is the letters just kind of like form the logo. And there's a version floating out there that they used in a lot of their material where it's not done floating in. So resultantly, the R at the end of Warhammer is just fucking overlapping this line on the bottom right ever so slightly, and it fucking rankles me. It bothers me as a graphic designer. I'm not even like a typography guy. I'm just bothered by that. But I do understand I think that's a mistake. Because we've seen the version where it's all zhuzhed into the center and it looks good. This is like 2 frames before that one in the animation that got exported. And it's just out there and it bothers me more than a little bit. Again, I'm not the one writing 3,000-word tirades about this on the fucking Warhammer community Facebook page, hoping that they notice me and fix it, apparently. But it does bother me as a graphic design professional. But I also do understand that when you're working on this stuff for like a long-ass time, you can get kind of blind. Like just 'cause you're seeing the same thing day in, day out, or you know, for hours on end, and you miss stuff. And it's human error. I'm not mad about it. I'm just like a little bit like, dang, you should have gotten another set of eyes on that before you put it out there.
Absolutely. So I make videos for a living. Like my job is part of it is making videos. And one thing that happens always is whoever is making your graphics for you, if you're not making them yourselves, and sometimes if you're making them yourself, this will happen too, is there's just mess ups or there's different versions or there's placeholders or whatever. And sometimes it accidentally makes it into the final version. Mm-hmm. It's unfortunate, but it'll happen. And it sucks that it happened in such a visible way. And I feel the people that are really bothered by this, for me, it doesn't really bother me because it wasn't my mistake. But I feel you, man. I like that shit is, woo,
well,
it
the
is
thing
rough.
is, I feel
now I would love it if Games Workshop just made that the logo.
Oh,
if they were just like, if they just leaned into it and were like, yeah, fuck you guys. It would, that to me, that would be That would be excellent heel behavior.
Yeah, they're like, you know what? We're going to change the font to papyrus while we're at it. It's going to be fantastic.
Ooh, like Avatar.
Yeah.
I remember how cool everybody thought Avatar was back in 2009 or whenever it came out.
And now no one can even recall 3 characters from the film. Fantastic.
Sigourney Weaver was in that film.
The actress. Don't know who the character was, though.
No idea. I like Sigourney Weaver, though.
Oh, she's fantastic.
One of my faves. All right, so next they talked about a new Space Marine unit, Assault Intercessors. And I got to tell you, but I saw these things and I immediately thought of you.
Yeah. I'm going to get them for my Ultras and for my Templars.
The first Primaris unit for your Templars will naturally be dudes with chainswords.
Well, of course, it's thematic. Ooh, fuck, I could even wrap some jewelry chain around the chainsword so it looks like the way the old plastics would chain the weapons on. Yeah, I got this.
Yeah.
So here's the thing.
What's the thing?
Well, the first thing is the little trailer they put out was weird because it was like a digitally painted 3D model that looked like it was a painted model that was 3D scanned, and the textures were kind of fucked up. They did the same thing for a Necron thing later.
That did look weird. I thought it was a render.
It was.
And then I was like, could it be a painted model? And then I was like, no, there's no chance that's an actual model. That's got to be a fucking render because you can't do that with cameras.
Correct. They are far too large. But it is like a 3D scan of it, which is
okay.
if that's how they're going to show off new models all the time. All right, fine, cool, whatever. I'd rather, but we get to see the real models later anyway.
Yeah, I'd rather see the paint job though.
My other note is fuck Reavers, I guess.
Oh, poor Reavers. They don't do anything, do they?
No, they're just going to deep strike their way into Warhammer Legends in the next year and a half.
Oh man, poor Reaver. I love the Reavers too. I think they're
edgy and cool,
and they don't do a goddamn thing.
They don't even have objectives secured.
You know, I think the real use of the Reaver sprue is as sick fucking heads for other models.
Yeah, and sick fucking poses for other Phobos models. Yeah.
Poor Reavers.
Well, after they showed off the first Assault Intercessor, they showed off a new Necron Warrior.
Wait a second. Let's stick on Assault Intercessors real quick.
Okay.
I fucking love them.
Yeah, they're dope as hell.
I'm all about them. I love the little extra shields they have. They got the what looks like heavier duty bolt pistols. Maybe not like chaplain level.
They're the Reaver heavy bolt pistols. I think.
The still great models, huge fucking chain swords. Oh boy, I'm gonna have to get some of these bad boys.
I'm gonna need them for 2 armies now.
You're gonna need like 20, aren't you?
I am.
You're gonna need 30, so you can have 3 squads of 5 in each. Maybe you don't need 3 squads of 5 in your Ultramarines.
Maybe not, but still 2 squads of 5. The thing is, like, they show off all the stuff that's coming out soon, and I'm like, fuck, I gotta buy everything twice now. They got me. Games Workshop got me again.
Gotcha. All right, but let's now move on to the new Necron Warriors. Okay, a couple things. 1, I like them. 2, they have sort of taken the Necron Warriors in a heroic scale direction, if you understand. Like, the heads are a little bit bigger. Everything's a little more exaggerated. And this is good, I think. But they're a little bit cartoony. And I'm saying that I like it, but to me, they do look a little cartoony.
I would stand them next to the old ones and see which one looks more cartoony.
That's a good point. Yeah.
The old ones had much worse posture. They had those little green rods, they seem like they're just doing away with the green rods altogether.
That's a great idea. Good for G-dubs on that.
It was cool in the early 2000s, late 90s in a kind of toyetic way. It was of its time, but it's
toyetic.
Yeah.
That's a word.
It is a word.
Does it exist?
In the Transformers community.
Of which we are permanent members, of course.
I at least have a time.
I would like to say
in the Transformers community.
To my Transformers community members, of course, Ba Weep Grana Weep Ninny Bong.
This is bad.
It's the universal greeting, Campbell.
Bad comedy.
Such heroic nonsense.
So the new Necron Warriors, they look fucking cool. I like this sort of zombie feel they got going on with the battle damage, and their poses are like shambling. And
wait a second. Mm-hmm. The battle damage. One of the Necrons looked like he got a real long penis.
Warhammer. Let's see. Warhammercommunity.com.
So I think that it's supposed to be like entrails hanging down, but like the cabling from the torso.
Oh yeah, that's a long cable.
But that cable is long and it's hanging and it's got a head. It's all I can say. It's got a mushroom tip.
It's dangling.
That cron's got a dong.
I will say the angle of his dangle is about 183 degrees, but yeah, that's pretty great.
It's long too. That's just like swinging by his knees.
Now we know where new Necrons come from. Oh. But yeah, I dig the sort of like battle damage zombie look they got going on. Like the posture is a bit more like shambling, and the whole idea that these are the lowest class of society, so the least rebuilt, which is really grim and cool. I'm into it.
Yeah, I think the design for the Necron redesign, terrible. Sorry. Is really, really strong. And again, I think I like the exaggerated features on them. Mm-hmm. And I love the paint jobs they're shown too, with a mix of the brassy color and the metallic, the straight up bolt gun color.
Yeah, and then the black and the neon
instead
green.
of the old spray and pray method of painting Necrons, they put a little more effort into it, which I appreciate.
Yeah, I dig it. It's a good look.
Next, they talked about a new Black Library series called
Dawn of Fire.
Yeah, Dawn of Fire. And the first novel is going to be called Avenging Sun, and it's written by Guy Haley. And so you know what I'm excited for. That's right. Lots of detailed descriptions of hangars.
I can't wait to see what kind of hangar that hero is in.
Yes.
So it seems like they're trying to recapture the Horus Heresy, Beast Arises sort of ongoing narrative thing. Like they have like a writer's room that sort of plans the stuff out ahead of time. I'm into that. I like that. My worry is it's Guy Haley, who I know is like his like Blood Angel stuff and Baneblade and stuff like that. He's written some really killer books, but then he also wrote like Dark Imperium, which is not so hot and definitely it's a toy commercial.
I enjoyed Dark Imperium. The follow-up to Dark Imperium I did not finish because I can only stomach so many descriptions of hangars.
Oh, my problem is...
I'm so sorry, Guy Haley. I like you. I think you're a very good writer, but man, do you like describing things.
It's very Redwall-esque, but the thing is, I'm interested, but I'm also like a little cagey because I don't want to feel like if it's another tie-in novel, well, it's not going to... I'm not so excited, but if he's getting to actually take the time to really develop and make it something a bit more his, I think it could be very cool.
I will say I will read it because I'm curious to know what we've got. If we have a tie-in novel or if we have an actual Guy Haley story.
And this is also the start of like a new ongoing narrative. So I kind of want to get in on the ground floor and figure out what that's all about.
But I will say if it's just a tie-in novel, I will probably not read. I will almost certainly not read any of the follow-ups.
I'm sorry. I just thought of Guy Haley's TV show, Hangers, Bangers, and Drives.
Oh wow, that was a dense Guy Fieri joke.
It's a double guy.
Wow,
it's Guy squared. So the thing is, they show off the cover and the art on it's super cool, and it's probably the first time I've seen a non-white Ultramarine before.
Yes.
And that made some really shitty people extremely mad.
Oh my God, they were so mad.
Because God forbid there's a black guy in a Space Marine chapter. So we will be
so mad.
We'll be sharing some of their opinions to all you fuckboys out there in some time when we get the time to kind of collate and record some of that sort of thing. But it's going to be a live one.
The takes were hot and stupid and extremely racist. And oh man, just like... I remember one of the takes, somebody had said something along the lines of Games Workshop has always been a racist company. And I wanted to die after seeing that. It made me want to die. And, some people, man, just the worst.
Yeah, I don't understand. And it's like, can you imagine being that mad about a novel you don't have to read?
Can you imagine, like, publicly saying something so completely disgusting like that in front of everybody and then feeling okay about what you said?
Yeah, that sounds like somebody who's never been told they're wrong before, or every time they've heard it, they've shut their ears and said, no, you're wrong.
Well, here's another hot take. If you're taking notes, gang, if you have a problem with Black Space Marines, go fuck yourself.
Again, twice.
Like I said, I'm going to read this book, and let's hope it's a good one. I like Guy Haley. Baneblade and Shadow Sword are a couple of my favorite Warhammer 40,000 novels, and he did a fantastic job on those. Okay, then, this was the most exciting part for me of this whole stream, because the stream at this point came from inside the Badcast, because of course Mike Brandt came on the line to talk about something. I wasn't listening at this point, and he was casting from my basement where I live in my house. Oh man! Well, because I have a nice setup for the podcast recording everything, and he doesn't at his house, and he wanted to, look and sound good for his debut, his Games Workshop debut, because Mike Brandt now does work for Games Workshop. He's I think the head of their global events program or whatever. Yeah. And he wanted to make a good impression on not just his bosses, but on the community as well. And so he asked me a couple weeks before the show if he could do it for my basement, and I said, yeah, sure. We've both been socially distancing and isolating and everything, and so I figured it was safe to do so.
I'm glad you at least took that consideration in mind, because that was probably the third thought that went through my head when I saw that. My first thought was, and this is like by second, first thought was, oh, cool, Mike Brandt's here. Number 2 seconds in, that's Dan's basement. Number 3, does Dan know?
So I was originally watching the stream from the couch that you could see in the background of my basement. But then they asked me to move. Workshop asked me to move when Mike went live. So there wasn't just a dude on a couch in the background. And I was like, yeah, I can handle that. But what I did do, and I wasn't, Mike was very, let's say, prudish about the amount of fuckery that could go into this video. So I had to tone it down from my original plan. But what I did do is I put my Raven Guard banner that a listener and friend of the show, Chris, sent to me over for Secret Santa this year on the door behind Mike Brandt. So it hung quite prominently in the shot. And this somewhat backfired, because a lot of people now think that Mike has a kick and rad basement. Well, he does, but not nearly as kick and rad as mine. And B, Mike is a big fan of the Raven Guard, which he's not. I am, because it was my Raven Guard banner in my basement. And I believe that's stolen valor at this point.
Yeah, absolutely. Although I was really like biting my nails waiting for him to accidentally hit the let me in, I'm trying to fuck button.
Oh, so I will part the kimono a little bit. The slider for the
let me in, I'm trying to fuck.
I did pull that down.
Coward.
So if he did hit it, it would not have, though some programs interface with this board a little weird, because to record out on this board, it is a pre-fade listen. So it will just send, even if I like pull down the sound effect as it's going and you don't hear it, it will get picked up on my recording software. And some teleconferencing programs also take the pre-fade listen. So if I'm in a work call and I hit the
let me in, I'm trying to fuck,
even if it's down, it will go through.
Oh, hell yeah.
Because my work uses Zoom, and Zoom's on the pre-fade listen. So I have to be very careful.
Well, Mike was on talking about event stuff and that he's stepping down from Nova, but also he mentioned most excitingly that there's a 40K app on the way.
Yes.
Which is something that I think was kind of promised earlier on in 8th, but I think it's very easy for people to say, just make an app. And much harder to make one.
What are you fucking doing? Just make an app over here.
I'm apping over here. So it's going to be for like building armies, for collecting rules and so on. And I think they said later that if like you like buy a codex, you'll get like a download code or something like that. Basically all the stuff people have been saying, please do this for like 7 to 10 years. So yeah, I'm pretty excited about that. I don't know what it'll look like.
There's a cat trying to climb me at this moment. Yeah, I'm very excited about some sort of Warhammer app. I would love to, just shoot Battle Scribe into the Shadow Zone or the Shadow Realm or whatever. That app sucks and it's constantly wrong. I know there's going to be some fucking stupid Battle Scribe White Knights in my mentions coming up soon, and I don't fucking care, guys. That app sucks. So I'm very happy that Warhammer or that Games Workshop is doing something like that. And then finally, the preview wraps up with something that is kind of unfortunate because of what happens around this preview. We'll get to that in a moment, but a Silent King teaser.
Yeah.
So I love a good teaser trailer. I really do. And they did they've done this before, old G-dubs, and they do an ongoing teaser segment over there on Warhammer Community, the rumor engine, where they, show you a very small bit of a model, an upcoming model, in black and white. But they did this little teaser trailer for the Silent King, who is, as far as I know, because I don't know anything about this, because I had to be told who the Silent King was, is some sort of large Necron presence entity.
Yeah.
And it had, from what we saw in the trailer, it had some really cool elements. My favorite, of course, being the captive and somewhat limbless Catan, who seems to be maybe powering the Silent King. I don't know how it works.
It's a cool captive ghost.
Yes, but what did happen right before the preview went live is leaks came out.
Oh, I thought they came out right after, because it almost felt like leakers were waiting for it to be over before sending them out there.
I think it was a little bit of column A, a little bit of column B. Some came before, some came after. And what happened was the Silent King teaser unfortunately fell a little flat because we had a pretty good idea of what the Silent King was going to look like at that point.
I didn't know that.
Well, sorry to be the bearer of bad news there, fella.
I know now.
So, in Warhammer Community fashion, they immediately, the next day, well, I guess that's not immediately, is it?
No, it's a slow ship to turn.
The next day, they had a post up on Community with basically a response to all the leaked pictures. Where, they're showing the Assault Intercessors again, the Necron Warriors again. But then, and this is my favorite part, I love looking at new models, especially 40K models. It seems like 40K has not had a whole lot of new models in the past couple months. But, oh boy, the Scorpec Lord. Bud, this is what I'm fucking talking about.
I'm here for these tripods and crazy characters.
Is some good shit. It's a Necron tripod, man. 3-legged Necron. And he's got a big gun, a big axe, and a big claw, and a big you-know-what.
I mean, we know if he's anything like that one warrior, he's got a big you-know-what, but he has a big loincloth protecting it.
Packing. Anyways, awesome model. Like, this shit makes me want to play Necrons.
If every army is cool enough to want to start it, that's them doing a good job.
Absolutely.
For the longest time, I was like, why would I want to play Necrons? They're lame. They got their big plastic ring pop in the big square. They got all the little Lego lightsabers and their little soldiery. I didn't really dig Necrons for a long time, but now it seems like they've really got a new War of the Worlds, plus Tomb Kings, plus Undead, plus their own weird alien ghost thing going on, and I'm very into it.
Then they showed off, and again, saw this model, immediately thought of you, the Primaris Lieutenant with a Storm Shield and Volkite pistol.
And he's got a big-ass sword, too.
He's got it all, man.
He's got it all. I love me some Sword and Board Boys, and I'm glad there's just so damn many of them coming out.
Yeah,
this got the model, Templar tabard, even if it looks kind of like he's a dad wearing a shirt tucked into his jeans.
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of that. That design choice is tucking the tabard under the chest plate. But fucking whatever, man. Let's not.
It's cool.
I'm not going to look a gift horse in the mouth at this point.
No, or in the Volkite pistol.
Volkite. It's a fun word to say. Volkite.
It is. I did.
Anyways. Next, so one of the pictures that got leaked before the event started was this very bad, very grainy picture of a whole bunch of Necrons. The Necron potato cam, they called it on Warcom. And then they showed much better resolution picture of it, and boy howdy, are there a lot of new models in this photo.
And the thing is, there's some classic stuff here too, though, because on the bottom left there's what looks like a Necron destroyer, and it looks like Jess Goodwin's old concept sketches.
Ooh.
Way more than the actual like existing models does. I think the existing model is frankly pretty lame, but this thing's way cool. Love that the Necron monolith swapped out its ring pop for apparently a D100 up top.
The monolith, dude, that thing looks fantastic. The old monolith model, it looks like a shitty box.
Yeah, it's of its time.
It's like, Mom, can we get the monolith? And it's like, no, we've got monolith at home, and that's what you get.
Yeah,
it's not great, but this new monolith, fuck. There's the world's guy. Oh, we didn't even talk about this fucking winged dude who's like covered in lightning.
Yeah, it might be a Satan or something of the sort. I don't totally know.
Do you say Satan or Catan?
I don't really know. I know
I say Catan.
There's settlers of one, and the other one is just Satan without the A. I don't know.
This is the problem with the letter C. I think the letter C sucks.
As someone whose name starts with it, I vehemently disagree. Although if my name did start with a K and it was kind of like a Mortal Kombat sort of spelling, that'd be pretty cool.
I think the letter C should only exist in the CH, the ch. And every other iteration of the letter C should be either a K or an S. So your name would be Campbell with a K.
Yeah, which is, again, very Mortal Kombat.
Do you have a problem with what I've suggested?
Not especially. It's really just force of habit at this point.
I also hate the letter G. How G can have a G and a J sound.
It's always the J. We know this.
But like we have a letter for J. It's a J. Why don't we just use it?
I'll tell that to my Jaloon Spite Jits, all right? Let's get back to these Necrons and shit.
Anyways, this one little picture has got a ton of new units in it. I think in the top right there, that is the Silent King. It will definitely is because it's got the trapped Catan up there, and it's got the robes that they showed and stuff. It's also looks like he comes with a couple of somethings,
big floating sarcophagus covers.
Yeah, I don't know what they are,
they're
but
cool,
they're on different bases. So maybe he's a unit, not just a single model.
Yeah, like big gun drones or big shield drones sort of things.
Fuck yeah, dude. Love it.
Yeah.
So the Necron stuff, I'm not even fucking joking. It looks so cool. I kind of want to play Necrons.
That's them doing a good job. And I agree.
Absolutely. Then they showed off again. It's like they're making models for you at this point. They showed off the Blade Guard veterans. And Bud, if you like a Primaris Lieutenant with all sorts of knightly shit, then can I interest you in a unit of dudes with all sorts of knightly shit?
I mean, my biggest problem with Victrix Honor Guard is that there's only 2 of them. And now there's not. Now there's a whole bunch. And
dude,
again,
these fucking things, they look so good.
Yeah, they look so fucking good. They look stoic. Their poses are still not like, they're not stiff. But they're not like over the top. I mean, they're a little over the top. Their shields are really super detailed, but these are veterans, so they should be more detailed. They got tilting plates so they can each have their own heraldry, which I'm so fucking here for. And I'm
gonna hate painting it, but I fucking love it.
Well, I wrote a wonderful guide on painting heraldry on goonhammer.com.
Oh, for real?
Yeah, like a year ago.
Oh, well, I will reference that when it comes to heraldry painting.
It's like a fucking college paper, but readable. But yeah, I'm going to get this box.
I mean, I'll be the judge of that.
Okay, that's fair.
If it's readable or not.
That's extremely fair. But I'm going to get whatever. There's going to be a new starter set with all this shit in it. Like they're pulling Dark Imperium off pre-order. I'm going to buy 2.
I'm not going to buy 2. But I'm going to buy 1, and I'm going to fucking love it.
You only have 1 army that uses this shit. I have 2.
It's true. God, these models look so fucking good, dude.
Yeah, they rip. I love everything about them.
I love how the storm shields that they're carrying aren't just like shitty squares with a couple of skulls on them.
Yeah.
The storm shield game has improved.
Yeah. Storm shields through the ages is definitely getting better and better and better.
So if you thought that was exciting, you're correct. It was. But let's get even more excited about Primaris Outriders, fucking Primaris Bikers. Now, I've gone on record saying I think riding a motorcycle in the 41st millennium as a way to wage war is stupid.
It's very stupid.
I will defend that. I will die on that hill. But the models are fucking sick, and these models are extremely sick.
Absolutely. Like, these look so much better than the original ones, but they're still like a really good modernization of that design. It wasn't even an hour after the preview where I think I first saw somebody illustrate the Akira bike slide with one of these fucking things.
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah, I don't know if these guys will all end up my Ultras or all end up my Black Templars if I get 2 boxes of them or whatever. Who cares? I don't want to speculate too hard right now. But like that original, the old box art for the Space Marine bikers from like the early 90s, there was like a box with just one of a Ultramarines motorcycle riding straight at the camera. That's like formative Warhammer imagery for me. So the moment I saw these, I was immediately in love.
Shit, dude. I fucking want these things so bad.
Yeah.
I want to paint them black and put birds on them because this is my shit.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a huge fan. I want to put a pin in your little Akira statement or Akira statement because we're going to be talking about something akin to that right the fuck now because now it's the Judiciar or Judiciar. Again, the fucking letter C. I hate it. I hate the letter C.
Judiciar. I think it is. No, it's Judicar. No, it's Judiciar. Okay,
There's
Jesus
two
Christ.
fucking eyes in there, bud. Judiciar.
God, he's so fucking anime. He's so fucking anime. I love him.
Okay, shut up. Sorry, that was harsh. That was harsh.
It was harsh, but deserved.
Not everything is anime, okay? All you fucking anime creeps, all you want to do is talk about how everything is anime.
It's just like one of my Japanese animes, yes.
It's not everything is anime, okay?
But this is anime.
I'm not going to argue that, but not everything is anime. All right, so this is like, oh, bud. I'm these models are causing me problems because I want them now.
I got the ham sweats. Yeah.
I want to paint this fucking guy so bad.
Yeah.
I had a blast painting my Primaris Chaplain for my army.
Same.
This is a Primaris Chaplain, but instead of the Crozius, the old mace, he's got himself a big ass sword and he's carrying around an hourglass. Now, I have an hourglass tattooed on my body. I love hourglasses, especially when they got little skulls on them. This shit to me screams Raven Guard more than anything. It also screams Dark Angels.
And
Dark
Black
Angels.
Templars.
It screams everything. It's fantastic.
It's very Warhammer. I love this model. He definitely does look kind of like Guts from Berserk or like a more grimdark Orin from Final Fantasy X. I don't love his head, though. I don't super like. I don't mind.
You can fucking put a Reaver head on it.
That's the thing. That's my plan is to put either a really grim bear head or a Reaver head on him. But I love how he's got the coat half unbuttoned. I love the big that's actually. I think there's like a 13th century English like beheading sword. That's actually what that looks like. I saw
the sword without a point is kind of dumb. NGL.
It's an executioner's blade. It's not actually meant for combat.
Fucking whatever.
But this is Warhammer.
Yeah. I'm gonna paint the shit out of this guy. I'm really, really excited for it. I don't even care what his rules are. I fucking want him.
Yeah, he's fucking cool.
So bad.
So fucking cool.
And so that was the end of the response to the leaks. And Bud, I am turgid for Space Marines. I want to paint Space Marines so bad.
I've got 11 models to paint before this stuff comes out. Just 11. And after that, open season.
I've got a lot more. And what I hope is at least a couple of months to make a dent in that. Though I'm worried that this stuff is going to come out. They're going to be like, pre-orders on June 15th or some shit. And I'm going to be like, why?
I can't even catalog all my stuff by then.
So yeah, I'm like, dude, we run an enthusiast podcast over here.
Absolutely.
We try to be funny. We try not to be too serious. This shit has got me so enthused for Warhammer right now. And it's not just me. It feels like the energy for the hobby right now is extremely positive.
Yeah, I think it's also really good right now to have these sorts of things rolling out because it gives us something positive to fixate on. Like, I'm not going to be like, oh, if it weren't for this if it weren't for these preview things, I'd be dead in the gutter right now. But it's like, this is generally positive news. That is a thing I can do at home that I don't need to worry too hard about and will be coming when it comes. Like, this is just good stuff to focus on, and it makes me very happy that they're showing it off so much, and I'm really excited to get to grips with it.
You know, it makes me remember that not everything sucks. Some things are fun and good. So we've been kind of going back and forth about the next thing I'm going to ask you. Mm-hmm. And I know that we didn't really plan for this, but I'm going to ask you anyways, because I know that you have thoughts about it.
Probably.
So are you liking the online previews?
I like them. I think that they've gotten better each time. Mm-hmm. Most of them have ended with a pretty wet fart. This was, I think, maybe the first that didn't.
No, the Silent King teaser was excellent.
Yeah, which is like, that's what you should end with. You shouldn't end with, and you can go to our website and buy vouchers right now. Like that felt kind of tacky. Or saying like, you can order a thing you should have been able to buy anyway. Like that stuff's kind of lame. But like this was just, it ended on a high note. It was very focused. I felt there was a little bit of tonal whiplash. That is kind of what Warhammer is right now, because you had this like hyper cool grimdark trailer. Then it cuts to like Pete Foley being like, new rules, don't you know? And like without even missing a beat, which felt a little odd. And then later you had that like the James Workshop.
We forgot to mention that. Yeah, the 9 things about 9th edition.
Yeah, which I thought was great. I thought it was cool. I thought it was
fun. Yeah,
it was fun. I thought it was cute. But like the tonal whiplash, if you were to watch those two things one after another, which is how they're presented on Warhammer TV's YouTube channel, the tonal whiplash would like break your neck.
Hey, say tonal whiplash a couple more times.
Total whiplash, total whiplash, total whiplash, total whiplash. What do you need?
Yeah, so the online previews, like I get it. They're trying to drum up interest and they're trying to do something that they can do right now.
Yeah.
But it has me pining for the in-person preview, because can you imagine the sound a room full of nerds would make when any of the videos or any of the like pictures of the models or whatever were released to a room full of nerds?
Oh, absolutely. And like the only thing I don't miss is, you know, the fucking yahoos yelling Slaanesh or whatever, or squats when, or whatever fucking bullshit they feel like yelling out that day. Like I don't miss that.
The chuckle fucks.
Yeah, don't miss the chuckle fucks. Don't miss the Q&A, which is like Chuckle Fuck open season. But I do miss that, like the whole room getting together and just all being really excited. And the Twitch chat is a fucking cesspool. Do not go in there. And it does not reflect that sort of experience very well.
I think you can hide the Twitch chat when you watch.
You can, and it's the best feature.
I almost always do.
Yeah, you should. You never should not. The only thing you know what? This is fine. It's not my favorite thing, but if we're going to be living in this current way we are for a while, these sorts of things that they're doing right now are pretty all right. They're still pretty enjoyable to watch. The pacing has gotten better and better and better and tighter and tighter and tighter each time.
Yeah.
Like that first one where it's like, we're going to talk for a minute, show a thing, and then it's a 15-minute silence, where it took like 2.5 hours to show maybe 45 minutes of real content. Like that sucked. You know, the stuff they showed was generally cool, but that kind of experience wasn't the best. The way this one was, even the way the last one or two were pretty all right. Like, and
they've gotten much better. Their streaming game has upped, and I appreciate that.
They've had to adapt really quickly, and I think they've done a pretty good job at it. And honestly, being like, I woke up earlier for these than I do for work, I'll be honest, by a significant margin. But being able to just like sit there and just kind of like zone out and just have my morning carafe of coffee while watching these things is pretty all right.
Yeah, it's not so bad.
Yeah, it's not so bad. It's not my favorite.
Fucking Mike came to my house at 8 a.m. Actually, he showed up around 7:50 a.m. for this shit. It was, it wasn't great.
Was he expecting breakfast?
No. Well, I'm not going to get into it because it's not interesting. But breakfast did happen.
Okay, that's what matters.
Okay, well let's move on.
All right.
That's a long fucking aspect.
It's a long fucking aspect. That's why we're only doing
most of the episode. We're only doing one segment this episode, so don't expect a crazy long. It's already episode. It's already pretty fucking long. So
keep it up.
We'll try to move it along here. Let's go to let's make a call.
All right.
At WMDK, we make the call. I do not have a French name for this. I stopped the bit at the Auspex.
Commit to the bit.
You're welcome. I committed to stopping the bit after the Auspex.
Cool.
All right, so this one is from Brandon Straka. I think it's Straka. It could be Strake or Straka or Strake. I don't know. Letter A, another letter I hate. Via email. How do you guys feel about GW announcing raising prices during the COVID pandemic? Is this bad form, especially considering they were shut down and not producing/selling the whole time? To then start the machines back up, get people excited to restock, and then say prices are increasing. I understand they are a business and need to make money to grow, as well as that they have a typical annual price increase. But couldn't this have waited until everyone was back to work and had dispensable income? I would love to hear your thoughts on this subject, as it has popped up a lot in social media. Thanks, guys. Well, you're welcome, Brandon. And I want to thank you for the rest of your email that I will not read on air because it's long. Not that that's bad. It was very, very pleasant and very nice. And I really appreciate it when listeners take the time to write to us. And your email was absolutely wonderful. Second, before Campbell cuts in, because I know he's chomping at the bit over there.
Let me at him.
Is you have included some wonderful pictures of your Raven Guard Space Marines, and I am always loving to see some paisanos, some paisans. I don't know if that's the correct Italian word. I don't give a shit when it comes to Raven Guard players, and I want to congratulate you on not being a coward and doing Shrike in his correct helmetless configuration. So, Campbell, I will kick the question to you. How do you feel about the GW price increase?
It sucks. It sucks. I'm not going to go torch my armies in the streets or whatever, but it's not my favorite news. It's never good news. The way GW's been doing price increases for a while has been new thing comes out. New thing is a little more expensive than old thing. And that's kind of the way it's been rolling for a bit. But having that price bump always hurts. And I'm seeing a lot of those same conversations I've seen around price bumps that I've been seeing online for the past 15 years, where it's at what point will people get priced out of the hobby? Well, the answer is not yet. I don't know how much it's necessarily relative to inflation. I'm sure you could chart the price of a tactical squad from 1990 to 2020 and see how it matches up there if you really felt like it. But I imagine this is the sort of thing where it's either something that was planned before, long before, we're going to be rolling out our annual price increase at X date, and they figure that out when they're balancing the budget for the year, or it's the sort of thing where we're having a downturn. We need to make our investors happy, so we need to find a new influx of cash or whatever. It's not going to price me out of the hobby. I don't love it. It's a few more bucks for me every so often, which isn't the worst thing for me, but I'm also someone of some means, so it isn't a huge deal, but I can understand it making things harder for people who want to get into it even more. It's just why, there's not really much you can do about it aside from shop your local game stores, and some of them may have some sort of discount, or you might be able to work something out with people who work there, or buying secondhand, which has always been the cheapest way to get into this whole hobby. And those aren't the best, but we have new starter sets coming out. So if you want to start with the armies from them, you can always kind of pick and choose from those things. You usually find those things pretty cheap in the secondary market. I don't love it, but it's the same as it ever was, really. It's not that different. And that kind of sucks in itself, but it's not that different.
So it's not.
Now,
I will say that it sucks. It's not great that the prices are going up. They put out a community post, and they link to a page that's showing all the things that are going up and going up or changing in price. They didn't say going up in price. It's changing in price.
That's just marketing. It's never going down in price. If anything gets cheaper in price, I will eat my fucking hat.
Yeah. You don't wear a lot of hats.
I don't. I should.
So you probably don't have a lot. So that's a large percentage of your hats.
Exactly. That's how serious I am about this.
It would be more significant for you to eat your hat than for me to eat any one of my numerous hats. Anyways,
Look
that's
at you,
a bad
the hat
bit.
bourgeoisie.
That's a bad bit, and I'm sorry. Here's the thing. Games Workshop is a publicly traded company. So who does Games Workshop answer to? So employees are ultimately answer to the CEO, right? Who does the CEO answer to? The board of directors. And who does the board of directors answer to? Shareholders. And the thing that shareholders care about is making a profit, is the share price growing. So what they bought in at is lower than what they sell at. That's what they care about. And that is capitalism in a nutshell. Now, Campbell and I could probably pontificate on capitalism quite a bit, but we're not going to. That being said, it is the nature of Games Workshop to make money. They're not a charitable enterprise. Games Workshop is not our friends.
Even if people who work there might be.
Right. This is the kind of thing that you expect from a company. Netflix raises its monthly cost, what seems like every year.
Roughly.
Amazon Prime raises the cost of Prime, what seems like every year. These are companies that are trying to make a profit, trying to make their shareholders money. So if you're super mad about this and you don't have enough money to take part in the hobby, that sucks, and I'm very sorry. This has always been somewhat expensive. I remember going to a hobby store when I was a kid and trying to get my dad to buy me a box of Space Marine Tactical Squads, the metal and plastic hybrids. And he saw it was like $25 or something. And he was like, no, that's so much money for a bunch of pewter. And I was like, well, sad. But even then in the 90s, people were complaining about the price of Games Workshop models.
Yeah.
Again, it's a capitalist company.
Yeah.
It's a publicly traded company. Prices are going to go up. They're going to try to make as much money as they possibly can off of us because we're fucking marks. We're rubes over here. You and I possibly at the forefront.
Yeah, the markest amongst them.
Yeah, like they're going to fleece us for as much as they can get away with. And they've always done that.
Yeah.
It's not a new thing.
Yeah, and it's not like you have the very typical budget balancing thing of like monthly expenses, $50 food, $50 internet, $3,000 new Warhammer models. Somebody help me, my family is starving.
There's a lot of people on the internet that just want to be mad about stuff, and they'll take any opportunity they can to be mad, and they will hold on to it forever, and they will worry that grudge until it's ground down to the fucking bone. That's a bad metaphor with a lot of mixes, and I'm sorry.
Yeah, I've got far bigger things to worry about than pots of paint going up 25 cents or intercessors going up $5 or whatever. Like, there's a lot to worry about right now. Is the timing of this not great? Absolutely. There's enough negative things going on that we don't necessarily need this too, but I'm guessing it has something to do with their fiscal quarter or year or whatever. Imagine I said smart money words there.
No, that's a good point. So the timing of this does really fucking suck. And it's honestly a bad look for Games Workshop. But this is the kind of thing that I think it would be pretty fucking obvious for a company to say, hey, if we don't have to do this right now, let's not do it.
Yeah.
Right. So my guess is this is something that has been forecast probably a year or two in advance.
Yeah, that's how they plan these things out.
Because like for my company, the company that I work for, we talk about our budget like 5 years in advance. And there are, certain goals we have to meet at those times. So, and I'm sure Games Workshop does a similar thing.
Yeah.
So you're looking at a company that's like, hey, you know how we planned for that price increase in 2020? Well, we can't not do it. It's going to look like shit and people are going to get mad, but we can't not do it. And you just got to suck it up and hope that the Warhammer community team doesn't get too much shit for it.
Let's say if you're going to get mad at a company for raising its prices each year, there's far bigger fish to fry than Games Workshop, and ones that are far more important to your day-to-day life that have much more impact than how you spend your hobby time. That's not to absolve them of that being kind of a shitty thing, but if you're going to get mad at one company, get mad at all of them or get mad at the ones that impact you the most.
Yeah, and if you disagree with us, if you are mad at what we're talking about, fucking drop us a line, contact@40kbadcast.com. All right, let's move on to our one and only segment of the show. This is an interesting one. We've talked about this sort of thing in the past a couple of times, but regiments of renown. Now, this was something in Warhammer Fantasy Battles years and years ago, where you could take not just special characters, but entire special units in your army to help out, maybe plug a gap that you don't have, maybe just look cool. I don't know. regiments of renown, a great concept. And there are a lot of these regiments or these units or these groups or whatever in 40K too. And so we wanted to do a little bit of wish listing and talk about some of our favorite regiments of renown that we would want Games Workshop to release in 40K.
Yeah. And I want to talk real quick a little bit about maybe who they were or what they were really there for in fantasy.
Oh yeah, let's touch on a little bit of history here. Talk about them olden days.
Yeah, I don't want to get too in the weeds here, but I figure we may as well lay this groundwork a little more firmly before we start building on it. So you had a Dogs of War army, which was like a mercenary army. And that generally is where a lot of these regiments of renown would live. And the cool thing about them is they could reflect parts of the lore or parts of the setting that maybe wouldn't be explored with a full army, but could still be explored in some means on the tabletop in the core game. So you had things like the Cursed Company, who were like, what if there's undead of all races, not just human skeletons? You had Long-Drawing Slayers, where it's like, what do dwarven naval forces look like? You got to explore places like Tilia with, the Marksmen of Miragliano, or
Tilea.
The Marksmen of Miragliano, or Perazzo's Lost Regiment, or Vespero's Vendetta, or the Birdmen of Catrazza. Like, you got to have all these really cool units that, hinted at the wilder, weirder, broader world than just what you're used to on the tabletop.
Tilea is Games Workshop's take on like Renaissance era Italy, where it was all a bunch of like warring city states. It's amazing.
Yeah.
I love it. The Birdmen of Catrazza are like they're Leonardo da Vinci birdsuit guys. I mean, come on, just a fantastic name. You already mentioned it, but Vespero's Vendetta, just like what are we doing?
Yeah, you're getting.
Well, we can't fucking name units like this anymore. What is this?
Yeah, this is how you got the pirates. This is how you got
By the way, Long-Drawing Slayers.
So
pirates,
fucking good. That's so fucking good.
So good. So inappropriate. Just it's a dick joke. And it's there on the packaging.
It's a dick joke and it's a Long John Silver pun. Like it's working on multiple levels here. Like the double guy. It's fantastic.
Slayers. It is. Those were my favorite. And I think that there was I remember reading the Dogs of War army book years and years ago. And like there was a part of Long-Drawing Slayers who talked about how all the other regiments of renown hated them because they farted a lot.
That's so fucking stupid.
And I was like, yeah, that's funny.
Yeah, but like you got to have also the sculptors very clearly exploring things that they just want to do. So you have like Rico's Republican Guard, who looks kind of like almost like foot Reichsguard Knights. You got to have a lot of really cool corners of the universe explored. And 40K has been exploring a lot of weird corners of the universe in other games like Blackstone Fortress and Necromunda. And while there's rules, like kind of get you by rules for some of those units to take place in 40K, they don't really fit in organically. So I kind of want to figure not just what sort of examples we'd like to see in the game, but maybe a quick idea of how these things could slot into the game. Yeah.
So yeah, I'm sorry. I have a cat on my lap now.
Hell yeah.
So I got a little bit distracted by her, but she's been very sweet. Anyways, what were we talking about?
Regiments of Renown. So
yes, I'm that far.
Okay,
I'm that with it.
I'm thinking about how these things are actually going to work in the game.
Oh, great. Yeah. Okay.
And again, we're not rules writers, but I got some ideas.
I don't know how it's going to work in the game, Campbell.
Okay. Well,
I think that it might actually be kind of hard to do that.
I've got an idea. So
tell us about your idea.
I feel like instead of slotting into troops, HQ, elites, whatever, you could have like a dedicated mercenary slot, the same way you have a slot for like fortifications, where it's
that's cool,
one per detachment. And I would be very adamant that they do not really interact with your army at all, because once they can start having abilities overlap with each other, that's where you start unlocking a lot of bullshittery and edge cases and things that don't really make the game better. It's
bullshittery.
Yeah, exactly. Bullshittery is the technical term in rules writing circles. So I figure each regiment could kind of, have that thing saying it does not interact with your army, but would have it could say what armies it could be taken with. So like
Right.
it wouldn't make sense for Ymgarl Gene Stealers to be hanging out with a bunch of Space Marines, but maybe like the Red Skull Commandos, who are mercenary orcs, could be taken with a guard army or something like that.
Yeah.
And
well, I mean, it would make sense if the Ymgarl Gene Stealers were hanging out with Space Marines, and the fact that they're hanging out by killing them.
yeah, they're hanging amongst them in assault, but not on their side.
I know what you're saying.
Yeah.
I know what you're saying. So some sort of auxiliary mercenary slot.
Yeah, it wouldn't be like a separate detachment, so you wouldn't have like a big penalty for taking them. It would just be a thing you could take, and they'd probably be really bad, but fuck it. They'd be cool and characterful and an opportunity to have a little like modeling project within your own army.
Did you know that what you are describing is literally star players from Blood Bowl?
How different is that from Dramatis Personae and Necromunda?
Not different. All right. So our Dramatis Personae. I don't know what the
Dramatis
correct
Personae.
pluralization of that word
Actually, it's
is.
Dramatis's Personae, please.
Anyways, let's talk about some of our favorites. Let's
Yeah.
talk about who we want to see. I'm going to start, if that's okay with you,
You go for it.
because you know who I love.
I think I do, but I'd like you to tell me.
The Tanith First and Only.
Okay.
My dude, you most recently of anyone have read the Gaunt's Ghost novels, and I would love to grab old Ibram Gaunt and his crew. But this, to me, it feels like not just one squad, but like a commander and a few squads.
Yeah, a platoon of renown.
Yeah, seriously, a platoon of renown. So you get like 3 infantry squads with some like snipers and some missile launchers and stuff, and then a few characters, some guard characters to go in there and help them out.
Yeah. I mean, and that's the sort of thing that you would take with like keyword Imperium. They could just kind of slot in there. Like,
yeah, or even just keyword Astra Militarum.
yeah, that too. That even better. Because, yeah, most of the time when the Gaunt's Ghosts are in the books, they're not on their own. They're alongside a larger force. Although I do feel like they have the most opportunity to be their own army, but you could definitely slot them into that sort of thing.
Absolutely. You're right. They could, but I would love to see like a platoon of Tanith that you could just like snag.
Yeah. See,
That'd be a lot of fun.
I think that the Last Chancers would kind of be this sort of thing too.
Oh, I have them on the list also.
Yeah, because they're the fucking dirty dozen in space. That's perfect for this sort of thing.
Yeah, with Colonel Schaefer. That that was a great model back in the day. The Colonel Schaefer
I
model.
remember I saw it used for company commanders for all sorts of guard armies for
everywhere.
years.
Everywhere. Yeah, I wonder if it's on eBay.
It definitely is, and it's still a great model.
Let's see here. Let's check the old eBay. Oh, hey, here we go. 40K Schaefer's Last Chancers, the whole box, $26.
Are you shitting me?
I'm not shitting you, my dude. And there he is, front and center.
Yeah, no shit. Oh, well,
That is, 12 models come in that box?
Yeah.
Man, that's fucking tight. $26, huh?
well, it's still bidding, and some of those models are a little yikesy, but that's okay.
Yeah, they're not all. Listen, the Colonel Schaefer model, yes. Most of the other models, also yes. Like 2 of them, solid no's. Extremely no. Yeah, $26.
Yeah.
Gang, this is pretty good. Though there's also one that's like half of them for like $80 down here.
Woof.
So, hey, how about Carl Weathers? He's like going for like $200 on eBay right
the
now.
The Catachan Carl Weathers like stock market is one I want to have that visualized. I want to see how that's fluctuating.
So I that leads me into something I want to mention for the regiments around. Just make up a fucking Catachan squad or something.
Catachan Devils. Yeah.
Yeah, and just let us buy them.
I mean,
they can be in fucking narrative games only.
I mean, I just want
or open play. Like they're not balanced for match play. I don't care. I'm still gonna buy them and paint them, especially if they don't cost $200 on eBay.
Well, the thing is also if you're doing Regiments of Renown style thing for Catachans, because like I already want like a multi-part Catachan kit. That way, like every dude could basically be another action movie hero. You could have your Catachan Ripley. You could have your Catachan John Matrix. You could have your Catachan. Well, you already have your
John Matrix
from Commando.
Oh, I thought you had done a conflation of Johnny Mnemonic and Neo from The Matrix.
the Keanu.
both played by Keanu Reeves.
Yeah, no, that is the ultimate.
I forgot that fucking Schwarzenegger's name in Commando is
John Matrix, and he has a 4-barreled rocket launcher. Like, that's how you can really flesh it out and have that sort of character base sort of thing.
Wow. Oh my gosh. That's yikes. Not like bad yikes, but just like, oh, I can't believe I forgot that.
John Matrix is a name, like, that is such an almost cyberpunk name. It's up there with like Dyson Airblade for names that really belong in a Shadowrun campaign.
Dyson Airblade. I loved those things like the first time I used it, and then every single time other than that, I've been very hesitant to use them.
So what other ideas you got for Regiments of Renown here?
I want to bring them back. The old Scully boys themselves, the Legion of the Damned.
It's like almost how they kind of operated in like 5th edition.
Can we have the Primaris Legion of the Damned, please?
That'd be wild.
We can call them the Primaris Legion of the Damned.
Okay.
It wouldn't make any sense fluff-wise. Who cares?
Who cares? They're cool.
Who fucking gives a shit? I want to see like a couple of aggressors and like an Inceptor runner, like a Death Watch squad, but cool.
Yeah, like Kill Team Cassius, which that should be a Regiment of Renown right there.
Oh fuck yeah, it should.
Yeah, like them and like the Elucidian Star Striders, those like kind of prepackaged like wild kill team sort of sets. I think those would be great for this sort of thing.
I think you can still take the Elucidian Star Striders in 40K.
I think you can still take both in 40K. But I'd like it if they could kind of, not take up a existing slot or have to be a weird attachment to make it work.
Hey, I've got great news.
Okay.
My cat Minnie has found on the ground what looks to be a Space Marine jump pack and is playing with it with a whole lot of gusto.
Is it that Forge-World Raven Guard jump pack you've just had lying around for years?
No, it looks like a plastic jump pack.
Oh, cool. Oh,
I don't know where the fuck it came from. Yeah. All right. Cool. Okay. Death Squadron.
Oh, that'd be cool. Like an airborne Regiment of Renown.
Yes.
That's cool.
Yes. Also, I can't remember their names. The Ace Squadron from Double Eagle.
The Fantine Eagles?
Sure.
Oh, I think it's the not the Saints. It's the Apostles. The Apostles.
The Apostles. There we go. Yeah. Something like that. And maybe they could be Aeronautica models,
Yeah.
but I would love to see some like custom fight-a-bombers or custom tacket jets. And my cat is going nuts over here. If you hear anything in the background, that's why. I think it would be really cool to have, not just infantry, but maybe some vehicles.
Yeah. Well, I think we should not just look at infantry and vehicles, but we should look at cavalry, because the Attilan Rough Riders have not been an actual regiment, really.
Yes.
But they were like this weird sort of offshoot that didn't have an associated army to go with them. Like, yeah, the Guard, but like you had Cadian infantry, you had Cadian heavy weapons, etc. But Attilan Rough Riders, there was never an opportunity to take them as an army. There was never Attilan infantry, but something like Attilan Rough Riders would be a really cool Regiment of Renown mercenary company sort of thing to run with an Imperium army.
Absolutely, especially if they had models that weren't crap.
Absolutely, if they had models that weren't crap from 1993. Yeah.
Yeah. How about some Armageddon Orc Hunters, man?
Fuck yeah. Fuck yeah.
You take Armageddon models and you cross them with Catachan models and give them a lot of Orc bits, and I am buying
That's
it.
That's a hell of a Citadel Reese's Cup right there.
Oh, dude. If y'all don't know, on the planet Armageddon, there is these vast equatorial jungles where all the orcs are, because the jungles are so thick, the Imperium hasn't been able to, kick the orcs out yet. But there are regiments of Armageddon troopers that go into the jungles, and they get really, really good at killing orcs. And that is a story that I would like to explore on the tabletop.
Yeah. I think keeping it kind of that's not Xeno-focused the same way I'm Xeno-focused at the moment, but I think things like Kroot Mercenaries would be extremely fucking cool, because that's something that's also been in the lore forever.
Yeah.
And
dude, you could do, people have been talking about this for years about with Tau, instead of focusing on Tau, focusing on the Federation of aliens that Tau have absorbed into their empire, and like really fleshing out those different things like the Demiurge and the Kroot and the Vespid. I am all for that.
Yeah, Vespid Stingwings with good models would be wild.
Well, sorry, this cat is having a ball down here. The Tau themselves, I'm not really into their aesthetic. And a lot of people aren't into their aesthetic, judging by all the Tau hate that flies around out there. If I think, like Games Workshop is leaning into the demon side of the Chaos Marines a little more, which I like, I'm a fan of. I think that if Games Workshop leaned into the weird alien side of Tau more, I think that'd be a good thing.
Yeah. No, I think though
I'm not alone in that sentiment.
Oh, absolutely. No, people love Kroot. Like,
that's not a hot take.
There was the Kroot Mercenary Army list back in like 3rd or 4th edition that was absolutely terrible, but very fun and cool. Mm-hmm. And this would be a chance to kind of have that in microcosm in a way that wouldn't be quite as, I don't know, if it's unbalanced, it's not going to be the best thing in the world. It's this mercenary company sort of thing. But yeah. I want to keep going with one more that I know is actually, there's mercenary companies of squats in the actual story. Like Grundle Grundleson from Necromunda is he was in a squat mercenary company. And I think squats introducing them as a whole new army might be kind of tough because that's why they dropped them in the first place, is because they couldn't really find a place for them to fit that wasn't guard and wasn't Marines. So if you were just to introduce like a squad or two of them as a regiment of renown, I think that could be a really cool way to show them into the game.
Yeah, I think so too. I'm with you. Okay, well, Regiment of Renown listeners, write in. What do you want to see? What is 40K lacking that a famous regiment could provide? Contact at 40kbadcast.com. That's where we are. That's how you can reach us. But let's move on, Campbell, to the marquee segment, the one that keeps people coming back and coming back and coming back. Fact or fan fiction?
One second here. Sorry.
No. Clear your throat. Cough. Take a sip of a drink. Get ready. Buckle up.
Buckle the fuck in, chuckle fucks.
Chuckle up, buckle fucks.
Now that's a good spoonerism.
There you go.
What the hell happened? Asked Regal while looking down at the burnt and plumaged city. It was snowing, and the Valkyrie was zooming toward the north of the city. They opened up a bunch of hell-spawned holes in the ground and overwhelmed our forces in a few minutes. Only 38% of our forces survived, and most are currently at baseline Bravo, while some, like us, are still en route, came the saddened reply from Captain Cherry. Which regiments were in the city at the time? Asked Regal.
That's a great accent.
Only the 53rd LI Regiment. Where were the 64th Armored and the 48th Airborne? Why weren't they helping? The 64th and 48th are this planet's best regiments. We can't let them get destroyed.
So, I need an Irish music fucking button.
You just jam a jig behind this whole thing if you want to. So you let a whole regiment burn just because we don't have tanks or can jump from planes? Yes, we are not as good as them, but we are still Imperial Guard, and we still serve the Emperor, said a furious Sergeant Regal. Stand on, Sergeant, that is an order, came the reply from the captain. Sergeant! Come look at this, Sarge! Yelled Corporal Vile from a window. Regal ran over to the window. He looked out at it and saw in the horizon about a dozen or so projectiles moving at incredible speed through the sky. Incoming spore mines! Grab onto something! Yelled Regal over the roars of the engines. 2 seconds later, the whole Valkyrie was struck and followed by a massive explosion. The Valkyrie started spinning in circles. With a loud bang, another spore mine explosion tore of the back of the Valkyrie. Captain Cherry looked up. All of a sudden, his body swung out the plane. Regal could hear him scream all the way to the ground. Another explosion rocketed near the cockpit. The shockwave blasted Regal a bit. Because of this, he hit his head in the wall. Everything turned black. Sergeant Sarge! Sarge, can you hear me? Regal looked up at the smiling face of Corporal Vile. Vile stretched out his hands and helped Regal up. They then hugged each other, one word. Vile and Regal had the friendship only two country boys who knew each other, one word, since birth could have.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, Gak! Hacksaw! Medic! Get a medic over here now! Came a scream from outside the crashed Valkyrie. Regal and Vile bolted out the plane with their lasguns. There, lying on the floor 5 meters away from the crash, was a bleeding Private Hacksaw Lance Corporal Dexon kneeling next to him. Out of a building came Private Saren, the scoured medic. He ran next to Hacksaw and stated pulling out equipment. Hacksaw's screams could be heard for miles. Hacksaw! Hacksaw! Can you hear me? Came the
Hacksaw. I'm just imagining Hacksaw Jim Duggan.
Hacksaw! Hacksaw! Can you hear me? Came the frantic calls from Dexon. Saren took a syringe out of his medical bag and filled it with a strange golden syrup. He then ejected this medicine into Hacksaw's left shoulder. The medic stood up and slowly walked Regal and Vile. There's nothing I could do, Sarge. He took some shrapnel to his throat. Without a surgeon, I couldn't fix him. I gave him a dose of something that'll ease the pain and make him go to sleep. He won't feel anything when he dies. I'm sorry, Sarge. It's all right, Saren. Okay, Scowd. Check your weapons. We're, without an apostrophe, moving out, said Regal to his Scowd. What about Hacksaw? We can't leave him here, came the angry reply from Dexon. Regal looked up at the blue sky as he heard the screams and roars of some monstrosity to the south. 45th Scowd quickly readied their weapons. They started moving in single file toward the north. Veal took one last look at Hacksaw, lying peacefully on the snow-covered ground. Tears started rolling down the corporal's eyes. He turned around and returned to 51st Scowd. How many more will share Hacksaw's fate?
Tears started Henry Rollins down his face.
That was what I thought when I read that initially.
Yeah, okay, so that's fan fiction because the spelling, it seems, was terrible.
You got it in one. That is Why Do We Fight? Chapter 3, Red Snow.
Why do we fight?
By
Chapter 3, Red Snow.
By Lasgun Assassin.
Okay, well, that was bad. Maybe chapter 4 is better.
Yeah, honestly, you need chapters 1 and 2 to really get all the context, and chapter 4 and 5 is where it really pays off. If anything, that was the weakest chapter in the entire piece.
Huh. Well, why didn't you pick a better chapter?
Because I'm broke-brained. Let's move on.
Okay. Let's do some plugs before we get out of here. First, most important plug, our friend Sam Stapleton is running a charitable program called Hams for Hunger. So the coronavirus is affecting a lot of people all across the world. And what Sam is doing is he's donating money for every model you paint during this time. I think it's been running for from the beginning of May, I think, it's going to be ending in the middle of July 15th. So if you are interested in something like this, you can contact us. If you are a Something Awful goon, you can go down to the Traditional Games Forum and look for the Hams for Hunger thread and find the information there. And if you're not, get in contact with us and we'll get you in contact with Sam, and you can be a part of this too. And all you have to do in this this program is paint models.
Yeah,
that's it.
He's not collecting money for this. It's not a painting contest. It's just a nice way to people work in their backlogs and help some folks at the same time. And you actually, if you do want to circumvent us, you can email him directly. It's hams4hunger@gmail.com. And he'll post them there, and he'll make the same donations he's making for everything else to the local food banks that he's already in contact with here.
He's already donated a ton of money. Last time I looked at it, I think it was more than $5,000.
Yeah, and
that has been donated for this, and it's a really, really good thing.
Yeah, there's a lot of people kind of blitzing through their backlogs. It's like reverse spite. I don't know what that's called, but it's reverse spite where they're just blitzing through their backlogs so he can donate more to more of these food banks and help more people.
I believe it's called altruism.
That's the one. I'll take that note down in my little vocab notebook here.
Not surprising you haven't heard of it. It's very rare these days,
unfortunately. But altruism can be found at hamsforhunger@gmail.com. Sam Stapleton's a swell fella, and he's helping people out. And you can help too just by painting some toys and sending pictures over to him.
All right. Speaking about altruism, patreon.com/40K Badcast. You can give us money because you're altruistic and we need it.
That's our Patreon where we post bonus content every single month. We've got a fucking humdinger coming up for you for May, which by the time this goes out, it should hopefully be already be up there, or I'm just really making a lot of work for Dan right now as I say these things, aren't I? But we've got a real humdinger for May. It's going to fucking knock your socks off. We've got 20-something ones before that are a whole ton of fun. We got stuff ranging all sorts of topics from wargaming to fucking March Badness, Bad Music Showdown, whatever. There's something for everybody there. So head over to patreon.com/40K Badcast, give us money, listen to cool stuff, and have a grand old time. But if you do want to keep sending us money, we also do sell shirts at shop.spreadshirt.com/40kbadcast, where we got a whole menagerie of shirts that you can wear in the privacy of your own home. No one will see that you wear a horn dog shirt unless you wear it to your next Zoom meeting, but you can wear it to that if you really want to get fired. So we have a whole bunch of shirts there that you can check out. Shop.spreadshirt.com/40kbadcast. Be stupid, look stupid, support stupid people.
Don't just listen to assholes. Look like one too. I've worn my horn dog shirt to a Zoom meeting.
Hell yeah.
I paint on Zoom meetings.
Hell yeah.
With my camera on.
Oh, that's the real pro move. That's the real power move, honestly.
I don't give a shit. I'm listening. I don't have to look at the fucking computer the whole time when I'm on these goddamn Zoom meetings where I don't even have to do anything anyway.
I don't have a camera on, so I paint all the time.
You can contact us on social media. Twitter is really the best one. I'm at DB_Sleazy. He is at Brother SRM. We tweet sometimes.
Yeah, I'm even tweeting pictures of models these days because, again, I'm forced to take pictures of them for Goonhammer.
Got to do it. But the most and best way to contact us is through our email, contact@40kbadcast.com. If you have any comments or questions or WMDK, we make the call questions. We always need those. Get at us at the email, contact@40kbadcast.com. We'd love to talk to you. And hey, if the previous segments where I was saying stuff made you mad and you want to talk about it, feel free.
Yeah. And
I'd love to talk it out.
Yeah. And if the previous segments where I said something might have made you mad, also email Dan.
Yep. I'm the one. I will fall on that sword. What else? Any more plugs?
Goonhammer. I wrote up a Getting Started article on Slaves to Darkness recently, and a
Dave's.
I'm sorry, it's for SEO. It has to be just Slaves to Darkness, but you and I both know it's a Dave to Darkness. I fucking changed it to Dave to Darkness in the first fucking line of the damn thing. But
so disappointed.
What else is new? I also wrote a book review of Yarick Imperial Creed, which is a novel by David Annandale that came out a few years ago that I just happened to finish, and I wrote up for Goonhammer. So check those things out if you are curious about Dave to Darkness or that particular novel, or again the bi-monthly hobby roundup where I also contribute on the reg.
I never contribute to that because I always miss the deadline.
That's okay.
Because I'm not paying attention. The word Yarick, the name Yarick, if there wasn't a C, would you pronounce it any differently?
I feel like I wouldn't dwell as long on the k. Be Yark.
Fuck the letter C.
Now, if it was 2 Ks at the end, Yark, that'd be all right.
All right. We usually end the episode on a quote, and this episode is no different.
Smooth as sandpaper. All right. Death is the servant of the righteous.
Hell yeah. And I'll take this moment to say au revoir to our listeners. That's right. Back with the French bit. Coming full circle. We're the 40K Badcast. We're bad at 40K. We're bad at French.
Extremely.
And we will see you in the next cartoon.
Omelette du fromage.